Hello, hello, everyone. Good evening. And here is Alexis.
Hello,
Our
everybody.
colorista supreme is coming on tonight to share with you some ideas on how to use your markers, whether that is Copic markers or colorista markers, alcohol markers, watercolor markers, all different kinds of markers to create backgrounds for your projects. Sometimes you can have the perfect pattern paper, and sometimes you can really not have the perfect pattern paper. So, Alexis is going to share with you some ideas on how to make your own and customize it in all kinds of great ways. So, Alexis, go ahead and take it away.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. What we're going to talk about today is making your own backgrounds, but also how to enhance, something that you may have. Also, using different products and markers. So basically, I have two fun things here, other than my Copic markers, which is what I use. But Colorista has come out with some cool metallic markers as well as some glitter markers. So I was able to get my little hands on it. So these are other markers that you can use in addition to what you have to bolster your collection for different projects or whatever you're working on. So what I've done is I've cut up some pieces of paper, some Copic paper that I have ready, and I have them just in the card size. So that's your 4¼ by 5½. Because what we're going to use is we're going to create those backgrounds, and then you can use them on cards or whatever projects you're working on, for example. One thing you can use your markers for is stuff like making plaids. So I was just having some fun with some markers earlier and creating some like tiny little samples of different types of plaids. So a good place for inspiration for backgrounds obviously is Pinterest. We love Pinterest. Everybody does. So that's always a great place to start too. If you're not sure what you're doing or you need an idea, it's a great place to start. Okay, that being said, so what I've done is I've just cut up one piece into 4 little squares, just so I can show you guys on a bit smaller scale. How much is this? 4¼ $2.98. All right. So I've got 2 more little pieces here. So I'm going to show you what I did on these with my markers, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add some glitter and metallics in it to kind of bolster it, make it a little bit more fun. Okay, so again, you can customize the colors for what you're working on. So for example, I just grabbed a bunch of markers that I don't normally use. I grabbed some grays, this RV69 that I had, which is like a peony color. It's like it's almost like a burgundy almost, a little bit more pinky. A green, and then I was gonna grab one more. I think I'm gonna go with blue. Maybe it's blue green. Okay. So a plaid comes obviously in a bunch of different varieties that you can have. So you have your traditional. Oh my god! And I'm gonna bolster this name here. Oh god! Now I can't even remember the name. Lord help me. Here we go. Okay, here it starts. Tuesday, guys. Tuesdays. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. See, in my family, this is gonna be. It's gonna sound absolutely horrible. We call it Keswickian plaid, and please, if any of you live in Keswick, I am so sorry. It's what my family calls it. But basically what it is a solid stripe one way, a solid stripe the other way, and it's just varying colors. Basically you use 2 different colors to do this. I'm a little shaky here. And what I'm doing is I have one of our desk pads, and I'm using the grids as my grid line to help me keep straight lines, because as you can see, I didn't have straight lines in my little samples here. So basically all you do is you line up your ruler And you take your chisel, because this is great. It has the straight edges for you already. And you just run your marker as much as you can, keeping it straight. Okay. Okay, next one. And then you can do this on a big piece. You can do it on a little accent piece. I do not have the most steadiest of hands tonight, guys. That's the downfall of having a clear ruler. As you can see how badly you're screwing up on these. Anyways, besides the point. Hopefully you guys are having a better night than I am. All right, so then we go
It's handmade, not Hallmark.
Sorry?
It's handmade, not Hallmark.
I've never heard that, but that's priceless. Oh my god.
I think that's a Jennifer McGuire line.
Oh, that's good. Oh geez. Okay.
Alan is also calling it the natural look.
The natural, yes. Yeah, the natural. All steady hands and everything. And then basically what I'm gonna do, oh god, now I'm gonna stop laughing. Whew. Okay, so then you just go the other way, the same thing. So I'm just, see, look at that. Jeez. Following the lines. And I'm just going to do a little part at the top here. But again, what I like about this is that you can customize your own color. And two, like if you have stencils, you can also color in the stencils using your markers. You don't have to use ink. They have... So I had a cake stencil that what I did is I used a very fine liner and I drew in all of the images. And then all I did is then I colored them in with my markers, and it looks really cool because I could customize it for the actual event so I can match the colors to the event, which was really cool. So now I'm just grabbing a dark gray and I'm just going to do basically the opposite. So in the white areas, I'm just going to add my gray. This is more like a checker than a... Oh, I'm clearly not even close to having these lines perfect. That's okay, though. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, too, right? Okay. Now, with something like this, you can also add a little fun into it by using the metallic. So if you wanted to add a little fun into some of these lines, like you can do a thinner line, you have stuff like the glitter markers or the metallics that you can use. I'm just trying to think of a color that would look... So we have a couple of colors here, and I'm just... Because it's so dark, I don't know if... Sound effects included. So you do have to have a little pump action here to get these things going. As you can tell clearly, I haven't used these yet. You guys are going to be testers with me too. I've used the metallic ones. I love the metallic ones. Earthquake. I'm sorry. Was it that bad?
No, you're fine. I'm just teasing. Darlene is saying that the jelly roll will work as well if you wanted more of that light color.
Yes, if you want, yeah, or the, I think, like, yeah, the jelly rolls work, or Posca pens, I think is what a lot of people use too. So basically, I'm just taking this gold here, and I'm going on either side of that red.
Alan says, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, oh no.
If there is no sound effect, it is not a PCW class. He knows us very well.
I am terrible for noises. It was, oh God, I do have a story and you guys will hopefully laugh at this. So my sister was in university and I had gone out to visit her and I had taken she wanted me to take her friends out. So we went out with my car and then we came back and I made, as I'm pulling into a parking spot, I went, like I'm driving my car. And it was like dead quiet in the car. I'm like, oh my God, did I just say that out loud? They're like, you and your sister are definitely sisters, because apparently she does the same thing. But I thought it was quite hilarious. Anyways, so here is the plaid. So see how that little gold marker just adds a little bit to it. You could do this for Father's Day would be a great way to make something with like this. So the glitter markers come in a variety of colors, and I'm just going to show you guys all the colors. Now, I know that the store, I believe, has samples. Actually,
Yes, we do.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll just show you the marker lids because it'll take me a few minutes to get these. But these are the different colors it comes in. So you have a solar red, a glistening green, a crystal cyan, cosmic blue, frosted violet, sparkling pink, sun-kissed gold, and moonlit silver. So it comes with all the different colors, and forgive me, I believe it's $20.99 for the glitter markers. I think so. The other
Yes, sorry, I was just looking it up. Yes, that's correct. I have put the link in the comments if anyone wants to go check them out.
Perfect. Okay, so the other markers you could use to spice this up is the metallics. And again, when you're working with darker markers like I am on this, the metallics would come in so handy for this. So if we stick with that whole gold theme, and as you can tell, I've already used it. So it's like those old school really oily ones that we had like back in the 90s that were like super popular, but less oily. So basically, okay, I'm just going to do it on part of this here. So again, I'm just taking my ruler, I'm adding it in here. And I'm just going to do over a couple of these little ones down here so you can see sort of what it looks like. So the metallics are really different in that it's very vibrant versus the glitter, which isn't as sort of in your face. But again, even with both of them, it makes it look really cool. In my opinion, I love it. I think it's cool. This would be great for Christmas cards, doing that red and green. There are different types of tartan that you can do. Forgive me. I believe this is a Spanish tartan. And then there's just like sort of another different type of plaid. I think this is similar to like Burberry. I'm terrible with names. But again, you can have something like this where you have your, hold on a second. I'm going to grab the gray here and I'm just going to use again my chisel end. And so there's tartans or plaids that you can do. So basically it has really thin lines. And then it's got really thick lines. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. So I'm using the end for the thin lines, and I'm going to use this for the thicker lines. Whereas I did it this way, I'm using it this way and this way. So just slightly changing it up with how I hold my marker, and it gives me a completely different look. I wouldn't suggest doing this freehand because I did try that and you saw how badly that came out. So definitely a ruler in this case would be beneficial to anyone doing these. Now, I mean, if you have a super steady hand, by all means. I don't think most of us do. And then you obviously just do it the other way as well. So I would add 2 little lines here. And then do my next one, which are my thicker lines. And again, too, you can do this as a big or as small of a piece as you want. Okay, so you got something like this. And if you continue it through, it would look really pretty. If we wanted to spice it up, I've got, where's my green? I think it's more like a teal, but we're going to pretend that this marker is green. And we're going to do our next set of thicker lines with the metallic. And not only does that bring in sort of a different color to spice it up, but it also changes the look. So we've got a teal, but we've also got a green. And then, so look at how cool that looks already. And then you've got the metallics in there. Now I can do something similar or a little bit wider with the glitter marker. So let's try that. Let's do, I kind of want to play with the blue. Let's try the blue. All right, let's get this glitter marker going. She's a running. Okay, so let's start with 3 big ones. All right. Ooh, that is super pretty. Okay. And then we're going to do this way. Now, if we wanted, actually, let's do. I'm just guessing at the spacing at this point right now, guys. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, that's all. I'm just doing approximate spacings. Normally, I would do it more. I would do it proper. But just because I want to show you guys how cool this looks. Okay. And then let's throw in blue glitter marker. And we'll do 2 in between there. It really doesn't do it justice that you guys can't see it, sort of me actually doing it, because it's stunning. So that's with the glitter and the metallic. Pretty cool. I love the little pop-up words. They're fun. Okay, so that's a couple of ideas that you can do with your markers, which is really, really fun to use to create sort of a pattern background. Now, as I was saying, like you can use these markers to add spice to existing papers that you guys have as well, which is really great. So I just grabbed a little piece of some paper I had here. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry. I just found the pineapple paper. If you all don't know, Sherry loves pineapples, just so you guys know. But if you really didn't like this and go, God, it's so plain and boring, you can use your markers to spice it up. So I could take this really pretty Sun-Kissed Gold glitter marker and add some spice to some of these pineapples. And that just adds a little more interest to it, but also some varying colors too, which is nice. Now, I don't think the, did that? Oh yeah, they do have a gold. Duh. Yeah, I think that's 2 gold. So glitter markers, I would say definitely. The metallics I would use if I had a plaid, and I think this comes with a plaid, and or something with solids, because the, oh, actually, polka dots. There's some pretty polka dot paper in here. The metallics are somewhat see-through, whereas, or no, sorry, the glitters are somewhat see-through, whereas the metallics are not. So if you had something like this and you wanted to add some pop to the pattern paper that you have, you could use the metallics to color in, you know, some of the dots or the plaids, and you can add a little bit more interest to what you're working on.
Those would be great on Christmas papers as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so. Very much so. Okay, so those were the, okay, so then the other thing you can use your markers for, I don't know if any of you guys, okay, there's an artist that does this, and now I'm pulling a blank. It's a pointillism or the dotting technique, when you guys do a background. So if you had an image that you colored that you want something to put it on, you can create a background with your markers. So there's a couple ways you can do it. Is you can fully color it in, or you can do something called pointillism or stippling. And basically what that is where you use your marker and you create many different dots, and then that creates your image. So basically what you do is you take your markers and you just dot, and then you keep adding layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of different colors or things that work together to make your image. For example, I'm just going to grab the colors I use for pumpkins, for example. Just trying to grab some colors that I would normally use for these. Okay, so if I have a blank canvas here and I go, okay, really, I need to, you know, I have this really cute black cap that I've colored up, and I said, you know, I kind of really want to make like a really cool, you know, Halloween scene. An easy way to do that is to create with your markers. So basically, pointillism or stippling is just, again, tiny little dots that work, and then as you pull up and you add more to it, it creates your image. So if I'm doing, say, for example, a pumpkin normally looks like something like this with your little stem and then your little thing like this, right? So what we do is we just add our little, I'm going to try to turn it on its side a little so you guys can see, is that we start creating our image with tiny little dots. So usually I start with sort of a lighter color with where the dark part of this image is going to be. So that sort of creates our image. It's the start of our image here. Okay, so you can kind of see the bum of the pumpkin. And basically is I would start adding layer upon layer upon layer of color until I've gotten it sort of where I wanted it. And then unintentionally, these will start to blend together a little bit as you keep doing it. Now, I use this technique for stuff like bunny rabbits, teddy bears. It's a great way to add texture to something without actually adding texture to make it look full too. You can use this technique, except when I'm doing like curly hair, I'll do like little curly cues like that when I'm building the hair, and that also gives it texture. All right, so you can see that we're building our pumpkin. doing it this way, you will tend to use quite a few more colors, but that's the fun of this, right? It's going to teach you to layer, find what colors work together. As you can see, I already know what colors I like for pumpkins because I color them so much. I kind of have my colors already picked out. So does anyone have any questions about this sort of use for your markers, creating something a little different? Have any of you guys made anything like this with yours?
There's no questions yet. Maybe you'll get a couple minutes, see if people chime in. Could you use those to do like a sky or water scene as well?
Yep. Yep, you can. This pointillism, I wouldn't necessarily say water. But I actually, and I'm going to show you guys after, I used more of a brush technique or something similar to like a Van Gogh style painting. So using the brush more on the side versus the top. And I'll show you guys an example of that in a minute. Just trying to grab one more color here. I can finish this pumpkin and I can show you guys. So I'm just layering my color. Just gonna finish this really quickly and show you guys here. My quick and dirty pumpkin. You could have a contest at home. Can you guess what I made with the dots? And this will also help you practice your control of your markers. There we go. And there's our pumpkin. Super quick and easy. Okay, so thanks. Sorry, guys. Okay, so the other thing you guys can do is if you already have an image, but it doesn't have, say, for example, a background to your image, it's basically just the foreground, you can create depth in your stamps by creating that background to bring the whole thing together. So if you have, or I should say, for example, we had a class on Sunday using some of Angie Blom's digital stamps. And I think we called it New Beginnings or New Adventures, I think it was.
New Adventures.
Yes. So that was a class that we did on Sunday for Copics, for the Copic class. Now, it is still available. If you guys are interested, it's $15. And you will get the replay. And there's a lot in the class, to be honest. But I think the value is what you learn and what you practice, right? So we did, for example, this one. So this image, I've got the ones uncolored too, so I can show you guys that quickly. Okay. So this is the stamp that they were given on the paper. It's basically just the Jeep with a sentiment. And you'll notice in the background, there's nothing in this windshield. So what we did is we created a really neat, I guess it's more of a sunrise versus a sunset, but basically we made some detail to this to add a little bit more. So it taught them how to blend the colors together and what ones I use to blend and how you're back and forth between colors. And I can show you how to do that after separately. One of the other two images we were given is this really cool scene here, which is the Jeep driving into the city. And then we had this really cool cityscape here. So right now, it doesn't have anything in the background. There's kind of nothing to bring it together. So what we actually did is we used our Copic markers to create two different scenes. We did a night scene and we did a day scene. And you'll notice in this one here, I also added stuff into the windshield here to also create more depth. Like he's seeing further ahead than we can see. So it created that extra amount of depth in your image. And this is where I was talking about that I was using sort of the thicker side of the marker to create more of like a Vincent van Gogh type of night scene. So using the thicker side of the marker. So when you're using your brush, instead of coloring like this, I was coloring on the side like this. So it created different brush strokes, right? Depending on which way you hold your marker, it's going to make the marker thicker or thinner, depending on what you need it for. For example, on our tartan, we were using the chisel side to make it thick and thin 3 different ways. So it's the same idea with something like this and working with the blending and the choppiness. Yes, use all parts of your marker. I know I laugh because in all of my Copic classes, we're always using the brushes, but this is a perfect way that you can use your chisel tips, which probably don't get as much love as your brush tips. Okay. Now, is there anything else you guys would like to see that we could show you guys with these cool markers? I know it's kind of a short and dirty. I'm
short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I'm sorry, my brain is like so dead and it's only Tuesday.
Well, now you're inspired to do some more coloring.
I am actually. You know what, to be honest, those glitter markers and this style here, I want to actually make something for my dad, I think, with blues and greens. I think for his Father's Day card, which will be really pretty. And if you wanted to throw some more, metallics in there, there is also the what is the Spellbinders? Oh God, what is it called? The hot foiling machine.
The glimmer.
Thank you. So you could do something like this, and then you can glimmer with your foil, the sentiments too.
That would be lovely.
Mm-hmm. Very pretty.
Well, I'm not seeing a lot of questions popping up, so thank you very much, Alexis, for sharing those great techniques.
Oh, my pleasure. I actually have fun.
Anybody, if you are inspired to get out your markers and do a little bit of tartaning or pointling or any of those words I'm making up, please make sure you post them in our Papercrafts Inner Circle. If you are interested in learning about those wonderful backgrounds, the kits and the replay are still available. We still have a handful of kits available if you want to get in on that class.
Honestly, it's worth it to take the class.
Absolutely. Any class with Alexis is very relaxing and very achievable. Even if you're not an expert colorer, she breaks it down really easy for you. So. And then without further ado, I guess that leaves us for what's new tomorrow night and our bonus learning live on Thursday with special guest Totally Tiffany.
Yay.
And one of the things I have requested from Tiffany is solutions for where to store our markers. So maybe she'll bring out some buddy bags to show you how to store your Colorista and Copic and other kinds of markers as well.
Yeah, because you don't want to leave them in the box.
Nope.
You want to think about use them.
Exactly. And take them places and
exactly
put them to good use. Well, thank you very much, Alexis. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we will see you all very soon. Good night.
Night, guys.